Welcome to this tutorial on developing Django applications right from your Android device. With the power of Termux, you can turn your mobile device into a portable development environment. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is to get Termux installed on your Android device. So I don't have mine installed. I'll have to go to Play Store and install mine. But if you have yours installed already, you can skip this part. So go to Play Store, look for Termux, Termux, then install. So I think it's just 25 MB or so. Okay, so depending on your internet speed, it's going to. I don't know how it happens on your phone, but when I get an app installed, I get this security scan that my phone does. So in case you're not getting this on your end, you can just proceed. So okay, the scan is completed. Now I can open. Um, take this out. So, okay, now I can continue to the next thing. This is my Linux environment on my Android device via Termux. The first thing I want to do is to update the package references, then I'll upgrade their versions as well. How can you do that? Just pkg, you can do updates. Let me just write everything in one command. So, pkg upgrade. Okay, so run this and just yes, so that it can update all the packages available. So you're going to be getting some prompts. Would you like to install this or that? Just pick pick yes for everything basically. Just pick yes for everything. So give it some time to install. Okay, so the package upgrade is done. The next thing I want to do is to install two different applications. The first one is Nano. Nano is going to be our text editor. Then we're going to be installing Python, which is the environment on which is what powers Django. Okay, Python is the language that powers Django. So we need to install the Python interpreter on this environment. How can we do that? All you have to do is just pkg, then install Python. So I think you're going to be needing around 617 MB, okay, of space to download this. So just give it a yes, then you give it some time to download and install Python on your Termux app. So just give it some time. Okay, so the Python installation is completed now. The next thing I'll have to do is to verify the Python installation. So I can do Python then version. Okay, you see Python is installed. So the next thing I want to do is to install Nano. So just pkg install Nano. So okay, Nano is already the newest version, so we are good to go with that. Okay, so some additional packages that will be needed for that will be useful for development. I would advise that you actually install them. You can just pkg pkg install, start with libxml2 libxml2. Okay, then you can do libxslt, then you can also install openssl. Okay, so just they will be quite useful for development, so just install them. Now moving on, when we are doing Django development, I like to work in a virtual environment. Okay, I like to work in a virtual environment. So a virtual environment is basically an environment inside an environment. The environment, your project is going to be inside that virtual environment. Everything happening within your project will be happening within that virtual environment. So if perhaps you want to deploy, just deploy what is contained inside the environment. The requirements file, everything can be captured in one place. So I'll start with using pip. So pip is installed when you installed Python. So you can do something like pip install virtual env. So just give it some time to install virtual env. um, you can see it's collecting virtual env. Just give it some time and it will download virtual env to your device. Okay, now that virtual env is installed, I want to create a virtual environment for the app that we are going to be using to try this out. So virtual env, then I can just say env. Okay, let me just use, or let me say venv. So it will create the virtual environment for me. Then if I do ls, you see now I have venv. Okay, so I can just cd venv. Then if I do ls, you see I'm in this virtual environment. But before I can do anything in this virtual environment, I have to activate. So dot bin slash activate. The dot there stands for source activate. Okay, so now you can see the virtual environment is activated. So anything I want to do, I can start to do it in that virtual environment. So I'm going to be installing Django. Okay, so to install Django, just pip install Django. Pip install Django. So it will install Django not globally but in that virtual environment. All the installations I'm going to be doing moving forward will be installed in that virtual environment. Okay, so just give it some time and it will install Django to that virtual environment. Okay, now that Django is installed, how can we verify? You can do something like this: Django admin, Django admin version. Now you can see the version of Django that I have running on my end. So by the time you'll be watching this tutorial, I don't know what will be the latest version of Django, but just keep going. Now the next thing I want to do is to create a Django project. You see there is a tutorial on the channel that has in-depth about Django. Okay, I covered Django from head to toe, so um, you will see the thumbnail somewhere in this video at this moment, and if you check the link in the description below, you will see some relevant videos like the video to learn how to create virtual environment and the Django tutorial itself. Another video you will see in the comments in the description of the video is how to use VS Code on your development environment like this on your Android device. So you can combine your knowledge of VS Code and Django and use it on your phone to actually do some deep deep end development with your phone. So just check the description below for those tutorials, and you'll be fine consuming them. So moving on, I want to create a new project. So for the new project I want to create, I can just do Django admin start project. Okay, Django admin start project, then I can call it backend. Okay, backend. So if I do ls now, you see now I have a folder named backend. So basically my Django project is in that folder named backend. So my virtual environment is on. I can just cd backend, and if I do ls, you see the backend folder. Then you see the manage.py, and if you are very familiar with Django and how everything works under the hood, you will know that you can run python manage.py, then run server. Okay, run server, then run this. You can see now that it is running the regular Django server the way it will run it normally, and you can see it is saying that you have 18 unapplied migrations, which is exactly what happens in Django when you run your server for the first time without committing all the necessary migrations. So we are good to go, and this is a development server. Okay, now what you will do is that you will open any web browser of your choice, then you go to localhost port 8000. You can see the port over here. You can see the port over here. If you come here, you can see port 8000. You have 800 there, then you have 0 over here. My screen isn't wide enough. So port 8000. So just come to any web browser of your choice. I have my Brave browser over here, so I can just come to localhost port 8000. No, this is 8080. It should be 8000. Local localhost port 8000. Run it. You see now. So you can see the install worked successfully. Congratulations. You can see that for me to be able to load this particular page, some HTML files, some CSS files, some JavaScript files had to be served to this particular web browser. Now, where is it serving from? It is definitely serving from that development server that we created the other time. And if you come here to the development server, you can see it is trying to fetch a favicon, but it couldn't find the favicon. But you can see the path over here, okay, and it is showing you no, and it is showing you 200. If you come here, you will see this 200 HTTP response over here. But this other one, because there's no favicon yet, that is why it is telling you not found 404. Okay, so which is exactly what happens in Django anyway. So this is basically it. But before we go, let me quickly show you how you can create an app, create a model, maybe do some create and listing. Then you can view everything in the front end still, which is on the client side. Okay, so just Control C to close my server. Now that the server is closed, don't forget we okay. I think after installing virtual environment, I don't think we installed Nano. So pkg. Okay, I think Nano comes inbuilt into Termux. So I want to believe Nano is the newest version. Nano version. Okay, you can see version 8.6. I want to believe this is the latest one. So Nano is basically the text editor we are using to edit everything that we want to do. Okay. So now, if I do ls once more, you still see that I'm still in the app folder. Okay. So I'm going to be creating an app now. How can I do that? Python manage.py, Python manage.py, then start app. Okay. I can call this my app. All right. So come here, just give it some time. Okay, now the app is created. If I do ls, you will see a folder, my app. Okay, so now that I have the my app folder, I'll just go into my app, define a model. Like I said, just check that tutorial on Django, and you can use your phone to actually follow along. Everything that I did in that tutorial can be done from your phone. So from your phone you can even learn how to use Django. So well, I believe everything I did in the tutorial, yeah, I think everything you should be able to do with Django with your phone. So moving on, now that I've created my app, I can just cd into that my app folder tab. So if I do ls once more, you will notice that I have the migrations, the models, the views, migrations, models, views, and all these other um, files, and this migrations folder that comes with it. So um, I don't want to be writing this code by hand, because writing it with my phone is going to be a bit tedious and we'll sleep here today. But I wrote it somewhere, so I just copy the code from there. Okay. Um, just check the description below. You will see the link to where you can find the code. I have the code somewhere here. Okay. So this is the model that we're going to be using. It's just a model, a simple model. The name of the model is item. Okay. So copy this, then come back here. So I want to edit models.py. So nano models.py. Then so this is models.py basically. I can let me just clear everything that I have. Just delete everything. I'm using the delete button from the my keyboard, so I can just come here and paste. Okay, so you can see the models over here. So um, if you if you know Django a bit, or you know Django very well, you notice that for this model, this is the items model, the item model, you can see the name of the model, name equal to models.carfield, the max length 100, the description, the date it was created, and all those things. Okay, so I think that will be all for the model. So to save in Nano, you have to do caret O, which is control O basically. So write to file, just enter. Then now you can exit since you have saved it. So that will be control X for exit. And if you do cat models.py, you can see what I have, the models.py content that I just copied. Now another thing that you will notice is that you have this cat command that I used over here. There is a particular video on the channel where I explained Termux Linux commands, so you can just check that tutorial out as well. I explained a lot of all these commands, the ls, the cat, mkdir, most of all those things that you are going to be needing. So it is properly explained there, so you can check it out. Now that we have the models, another thing you want to do is to now create the view. Okay, to create the view. So the view basically is what is displaying on the client side. That is what is going to decide what is being displayed on the client side. So um, what do we do now? Okay. Okay. So I can just do nano. Then from nano I can do views dot py. So to edit the views file, then let me come down and delete everything that we have for now. Okay, then come back here, copy everything that I have here. Okay, I think to this point, copy, then paste it here. Okay, so you can see what I have now. Okay, so these are the two views that we are going to be using for now: the item listing, the item detail. The item listing is going to be listing out all the items that we have. Then the items detail is going to be showing the details of the item. So the thing is that from the shell we are going to be adding some items. Okay, we are going to be adding some items. Then from the front end we are going to be viewing those items, both the list view and the detail view. So control O to write to file, then control X to exit. Okay, now that I've created the model and I have created the view, the next thing I want to create is the URL patterns. To create the URL patterns is very simple. Just nano, if you come to do ls, you can see that I don't have urls.py here, but that's not a problem. Just do nano urls.py. There's also another tutorial on the channel where I explain how to use nano. Okay, nano tutorial, so just check that one out as well. So for the nano tutorial, for nano urls.py, what I have to do is very simple. Just from django.urls, import path. Okay, then come to the next line, from dot import views. Okay, then I'll come and create the URL patterns variable, and I'll say this is equal to, then I will open and close, go back, then come to the next line, go up, and the tab. Okay, so I can just do path, then open and close, put a comma just, then from here I can do items. Okay, items, don't forget the slash, then this comma. The view that I want is views dot item underscore list, which is the view for the list view that we created in the views.py, and the name of this route is going to be equal to item underscore list, item underscore lists. Then I think that will be all. Then don't worry. Um, when I'm going to be copying the code for the other ones, I'll copy this one as well, so you won't have problem doing all this by hand. So I think I forgot to copy it on my end. Um, so this is going to be item. Sorry, item. I'm going to be passing a URL variable, and the name of the URL variable is going to be an integer variable. Okay, and that integer variable is going to be item id. Item id, if you check the views.py, you will notice that item id was a variable called on the inside of the view. So then close the string and views dot item underscore details, detail, comma, name will now be equal to, the name of the route is going to be equal to um, item underscore detail. Okay, then close this, and you can even put a comma. So I think now we are good to go. Okay, so to write out, which is to save, Control O, then Control X to exit. Okay, so cat urls py. um I'm trying to verify. I think, okay, I think everything is fine. Now, before we move on, we need to include this particular urls.py file that we just created in the project's main urls.py. So how do you do that? Cd backback, then ls, you can see backend, which is the name of the project, cd backend, then ls once more. You can see urls.py, so nano urls.py. You can see what I have over here. So I'll basically come down. So come here first. So after part, I also want to import include. So include, then come down and let me keep it consistent. So part, then this is going to be the main route, then include um, my app.urls, then close, and you can just put a comma there. So I think there's only one more thing that we have left. There's only one more thing that we have left, and what we have left is just to, I'm trying to just to be very sure. Okay, we have to check the settings.py. So we have to control O to write to file, then control X to exit. ls cd backend ls. Okay, so I think that will be all for now. Okay, we have to check the settings.py. Sorry. So see, nano settings. We have to, no, cd backend, please. Cd backend ls settings.py, nano settings.py. So we have to make a modification just to include our the app that we just created in installed apps. So if you just come under installed apps, come to the end over here. So come to the next line. So for this installed apps, all you have to do is to just add my app. So just my app, then Control O to write, then Control X to exit. Okay, now after doing that, we need to now let us include some data, some sample data. Okay, we need to include some sample data. So cd, if you do ls, you don't have manage.py here. So cd, go back, ls. Now you have manage.py. So what's the next thing to do? I want to open the Python shell so that in the Python shell I can in the Python shell I'll be able to add some data to the database. But before we do that, actually we have to make some migrations. Okay, we have to make some migrations. Making those migrations basically is we registering um, the model that we just created into the Python database. So Python manage.py make migrations. Um, on line 22 for backend urls.py. Something is wrong somewhere. ls cd backend. Okay, is it backend.urls.py? Okay, nano urls.py. Okay, that is it. So control O, then no, enter, then control X. Very good. So cd, so ls. Okay, so to make those migrations now. Okay, so okay, so this is the migration. Now to register it into the database and register possibly all the other database tables that if you scroll up you will notice something over here. It is saying here that we have some unapplied migrations. You have 18 unapplied migrations, so it will migrate everything together now. So python manage.py migrate. Okay, so now that it has done all these migrations now, you will notice that in the database we now have an items table. We have an items database table. If you come here, ls, you will notice that we now have db.sqlite, which is basically the default database that comes with Django. And if you open this db.sqlite, you will see a table dedicated to items. Okay, so now let us try to add some data into that particular items table that we just created. For us to add the data, you can just open Python shell. Okay, just open Python shell, Python manage.py shell. Okay, come here. Okay, so this is the Python shell, the Django shell rather. Sorry about that. This is the Django shell. So you can do something like this from my app dot models import item. This is case sensitive, so please. Okay, now item is imported, so I can do item. I'll just create two objects. Okay, then dot create. So if I want to create now, I can do name equal to, let me just put a string sample item, then comma, I need to add a description, so description description equal to, then I can just say this is the first item tested. Okay, then after doing this, the next thing I want to do, okay, I think this is the only two things I need. Okay, then I can just come here. You can see it has created it into the database, so I can come here and create another item. If I want to create another item, I can just simply make some changes to this first one. Let me change the name. To change the name, another item, item. So for the description, this is the second item created. Second item created. Okay, this is second item created. So after doing that, just come to the next line. You can see now, let me create one more. So to create one more item, I can just say this is the last item created. So this is the last item created. Then for this other one, let me just do last item. Last item. So okay, you can see, so I have three items now. So um, I can simply just exit now so that I can show you how all these things are going to be looking like in the front end. So now that I have done everything that I want to do, I can simply just run my server again. Then I'll go to the front end to see what is going to be shown in the front end. Okay, so to do that, I can simply go to Python manage.py, then run server. So you can see it is not showing me you have unapplied migrations. It is not showing me that message anymore. Okay, because now I've done all the migrations I'm supposed to do. So come here and go back to Brave browser. If I should reload this page, it will tell me, it will give me an error, simply because this part, it cannot be found anymore. Okay, it cannot be found anymore. So this is basically what it will show. But you can see that I'm having the admin page, then the items page. You can see what I have on in number 2 and number 3. I created them by hand, but number 1 comes by default with Django, and we are going to be exploring the three um, parts. So for the first one, it says items. So let me paste this here, then slash items. Don't forget the urls.py file. That is where we are getting these items from. So you can see now I have these three items. You can see sample item 1, sample item 2. Hope this is not desktop view. Okay, so let me just zoom in manually. So you can see what I'm having now: sample item, another item, then the last item. These are the three items that I created in Django. Okay, if I click on sample item, you can see, I'm trying to zoom in. So you can see this is the first item tested and the time that I created it. Don't forget that the sample item, I think I have it somewhere where I have it over here. So if you check the models, you will see that created at is date time field and auto add now equal to true. That is telling you that the moment you create it, it will automatically fill this particular field, and the time for me is 4:50. So 4:50 p.m. So let us check the time here. So this is 3:50 p.m. 3:46 p.m. That was when I created this particular created this particular item. So basically I'm 1 hour ahead of Django's default time, and that's not bad. So I can just go back to the list and let me just pick another item. You can see this is the second item created. If you zoom in, can see this is the second item created. Back to the list again, then let me go to the last item. You see this is the last item created. Okay, so basically that is this is the list of what you can do with Django on your phone. Just go to that Django tutorial that is in the description below and knock yourself out. There's plenty of information that you have to consume. So that is by the way. Now let us explore the last URL that we have, which is the admin. So let me just slash admin. Admin. If you come to slash admin, you will notice something. It is saying that a server error occurred. Please contact the administrator. Now, what is happening over here is definitely no problem. Come here. Let's quickly fix what we have on our hand. It's an easy fix. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is to Control C to close the terminal. Then we need to check our settings.py to verify that we have a time zone variable there. So cd backend, then go to nano settings .py, and let us verify that we have a setting for time zone. Let's verify that we have something that is checking for time zone. Just we have templates, whiskey, the database engine, password validation, internalization. You can see we have time zone UTC, okay, and we have use TZ, true. But the reason we got that particular error is because I think it's not getting any time zone data. It's not getting the files that are associated with time zone on our virtual environment. So I think it has to do with either the virtual environment or the system environment itself. So we are going to be installing on both just so we are safe. Okay. So now just control X. Make sure you don't write anything in that file now. Pkg install tz data. So just give it some time to install. Okay, it couldn't locate tz data. Then let's install using pip. Pip install tz data. Okay, so you can see it is downloading tz data. Okay, so now that we have tz data, and we are sure that we have time zone UTC in in our Django, in our development environment. But just to verify, let us just open the shell, cd. If I do ls, okay, cd, go back, then ls once more. Okay, I have manage.py here, so python manage.py shell. Okay, now I'm in the Django shell. Import time zone. No, import zone info. Okay, now that zone info is imported, let us see the available time zones. So print zone info dot available, no, underscore time zones. Then okay, you can see we have so many time zones over here that are available. So I think we are good to go. So exit. Okay, so let us run back python manage.py, run server. Then we go back to that administrator endpoint, the admin um, view. So for this view, run it once more. Okay, this is what we are supposed to see. So this is the Django administration. You can use this particular button over here to toggle between day light mode and dark mode. Okay, but one thing you will notice is that you need a username and a password to be able to log into this particular interface. Okay, you need a username and password to be able to log into this interface. So the thing is that you have to create a super user because only super users can log in here, okay? And some particular levels of users that have been created by the super admin. So how can you do that? So come back here. You can see the static admin CSS, static admin JS, and all the other files that were sent over, that were sent that was served to that particular, to the web browser when it requested for that particular endpoint. So Control C, and to create a super user, Python manage.py create super create super user. Oh, sorry, there's an error there. Create super user. Typing this thing by hand sometimes can be very tiring. So now, username, I can just do admin to keep it simple. Okay. Email address, admin at admin.com. Password, admin. Just to keep it simple, just yes. Okay, so now I can simply run my server again. Okay, continuing, come back here, reload this particular page. Then the username is admin and the password is also admin. Login, and you can see now I'm inside the administrator area. If I check the groups, the users, from here I can manage my Django app. If I come to users, you see for now it is only admin that is the user that I have. Okay, but the thing is that you are supposed to be able to manage a whole lot of other information in this particular user area. Okay, you're supposed to be able to manage, for example, the items, but you cannot find the items over here. So how can you make the items available here? Very simple. All you have to do is to come back here, close the server. Now after you've closed the server, the next thing you want to do is to simply do something real quick. Ls, so cd my app. Then in my app, ls, you want to go to admin.py. So cd, no, nano admin.py. Then so you want to come down from dot models, import item. Okay, then you can come here to do admin. Admin is already imported. Admin.site dot register. And what model do I want to register? I want to register item so that item can be available in the admin area. So what can I do? Just control O to write, then control X to exit. So cd, go back, ls. So now python manage.py, then run server. So let's come back here to reload this particular page. Okay, you can see now I have items. So basically it is going to be grouping all those models in apps. Okay, you can see my app, the authentication and authorization, it is inbuilt into Django, so that's why I'm getting groups and users under authentication and organization. But under, for items, I'm seeing it under my app because that is the name of the app that I created. So if you click under items, you will see all the items that I added. You can see the last item, another item, the sample item. If I click on last item, you see the item name, the description, and you can see some buttons over here that I can use to delete them and it will just leave my memory. So I can as well go back to items. You can see everything that I have. If I want to add a new item, if I can come here and say UI added item. Okay, so for the description, I can just come here and say this item was added via admin UI. Okay, then save. You can see the UI item now. Okay, if I want to modify another item, for example, I can come to modify another item. Then I can do something like this is the, I can let me modify the name. Let me change this one to item number 2, and this is the second. This is the item created secondly or something, if that is correct. So let me delete this one. So this is how you can modify what you have. You can see now I'm having item number 2, and if you want to delete an item, you can select the item from here, come under actions, and you delete selected items, and it will delete them. Or you can just open it and you will see delete button over here, so delete it. Yes, I'm sure, and you can see that item isn't there anymore. But let us confirm just to be sure. So if I want to confirm, I can copy the whole of this, and let me open another tab and bring this one here, but I'll go under items. I'll go under items. Go under items. Come back here. So if you check all the items that I have over here now, you see that I have number 2, last item. The sample item that I created is not there anymore. If I come under UI item, you see, and the time I created it, everything is here. Okay, so this is just the list you can do with Django on your Android device. This is the list of what you can do. Check that particular Django tutorial, and like I said, knock yourself out. You have so many information there that you can consume, and I believe that with this information that I've shared so far in this tutorial, you can see that the possibilities of you developing Django on your phone, they are endless. Okay, there's so much you can achieve with just your phone, your Android device, developing for Django. So, and like I said initially, there's a tutorial on the channel where that it is going to be available in the description below, where I did show how to use VS Code together with your Android device, so you can have a better user interface with which you are going to be editing the files and navigating the file directory of Django. So it's been a long tutorial. Thank you very much. If you have anything amazing you've built with what the knowledge gained in this particular video, please feel free to share them in the comments below, okay, so that we can check it out and give possible advice where needed. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Bye for now.